Driving while intoxicated, understand the facts about drugs and alcohol, Part 3. Drug driving is prohibited. The following section in this video discusses drug driving, which many people engage in without recognizing it. The term drug can be used to describe drugs that are prohibited, such as cocaine and marijuana. Medically necessary medicines that are legal, such as painkillers and antidepressants. Other compounds that influence the mind but that we do not necessarily classify as drugs, such as nicotine or coffee. You are driving under the influence of drugs if you smoke before you get behind the wheel, drink coffee while you're driving, or take daily allergy medication. However, unless the substance you are taking has produced mental or physical impairment, you are not driving while intoxicated in a legal sense. This complicated subject will be covered in detail later. All you need to know right now is that if you are driving recklessly and later test positive for any potentially intoxicating substance, including over-the-counter medications, you may be found guilty of DUI. Punishments for drug abuse and DUI. If you are caught driving while intoxicated by drugs, you could face DUI or DWI charges depending on the state where the offense was done. Drug-impaired driving is typically punished just as severely as drunk driving. While it may not seem fair, state laws generally do not distinguish between drug-impaired driving caused by illicit or abused substances and accidental impairment, where a person has accidentally damaged their driving ability by taking prescription medication. When taking any medicine, keep this in mind and make sure you check yourself for indications of impairment before operating a vehicle. The important lesson to learn from this video's section is that all drugs have the potential to be harmful and impair users. If you are caught driving while intoxicated, you may potentially face other drug charges if the drug you used was prohibited or you were using it in an illegal manner. The Controlled Substances Act's schedule of the drug will play a role in the punishment, which varies widely across the country. Regulation of Substances Act. A drug will be placed in one of the 5 schedules on the Restricted Substances Act if there are regulations governing how, when, and under what circumstances it can be manufactured, sold, or used, as is the case with the majority of recreational drugs and medicinal medications. You can get a general understanding of a drug's ability to harm you and the likely legal repercussions of abusing it by knowing where it falls on the scale of the Substance Act. In a subsequent, specific topic, you can learn more about controlled substances law and scheduling medications. When used in sufficient amounts, all controlled substances carry the risk of overdose and other health issues. Despite being widely accessible, unscheduled medications, including caffeine, nicotine, and alcohol, have the same effects as those that are scheduled. All medicines have the potential to damage your ability to drive. Keep in mind that any substance that affects how your body and brain work will also affect how you drive. Depending on the substance you used, you may experience specific impairments. Drugs and impaired driving. Do you understand the distinctions between hallucinogenic, depressant, and stimulant drugs? The majority of drugs can be categorized as either stimulants, depressants, or hallucinogens based on their primary biological activity, even if each drug induces a different chemical reaction in the body that results in a different impact. First, stimulants. Drugs that act as stimulants, such as cocaine, Adderall, methamphetamine, and MDMA, speed up body functions. When driving, this impact frequently leads to speeding, tailgating, aggressive behavior, and disobeying traffic laws. 2. Sedatives. Drugs that are depressants, such as heroin, oxycodone, Xanax, and Nembutal, have the opposite effect. These substances can cause drowsy driving, sloppy maneuvering, poor space management, and a failure to obey traffic control devices by slowing down body functions. 3. Hallucinogens. Any of the aforementioned effects, as well as hallucinations, can be brought on by hallucinogenic substances like marijuana, LSD, psilocybin mushrooms, and dextromethorphan. A broad variety of risky and irregular actions might result from seeing or feeling things that are not real while operating a vehicle. The drug driving videos thoroughly examines the mental and physical consequences of typical stimulants, depressants, and hallucinogens. We also examine in detail how these impacts result in impaired driving and elevated danger on the road.